Welcome to the Lead Change Empowerment Podcast. I am your host, Steve Robinson, and I am grateful for you. This is episode 4, and it's talking about forgiveness. If you hear the sound in the background, it's because I'm recording as I'm driving. I have a road trip on the way back, and I'm recording this live at the time for that. And today I want to talk to you about forgiveness. Before I get into that, listen, if you find value, if you're listening to this podcast, whether it be through Spreaker, whether it be YouTube, whether it be iTunes, please send a like, review it, leave a review, share. That's how I get more traffic for people to be able to find us. So, hey, share it with all of your friends, share it with your family, share it with your enemies. It'll help everyone. So I appreciate you all listening for that. But again, I want to talk to you today about forgiveness and how important forgiveness is. And I think once for myself, when I learned about how to forgive myself first, is when life started to change more for me. You know, it was just learning forgiveness. One thing I'll say is my mother taught me forgiveness at a young age. You know, when I was 6th grade, I guess 12, 13 years old, when my mom and dad divorced, he left. And it was mom raising us. And of course, you feel like you're mad at your father. You didn't like him, whatever. And mom taught me as I got older and got into high school, she had told me, she said, Steve, if you don't learn to forgive your father, you'll never be able to get the blessings that are coming to you. Now, at first I'm thinking, why do I need to forgive him? He left. I didn't leave. But she said, you have to learn to forgive people no matter what. You have to learn to forgive them, and things will be able to work out better for you. And what I realized is holding in unforgiveness, not forgiving someone else for whatever they've done to you, does not help you. It does not make it easier. No, it does not change what happened, but it does not make it easier. It does not change anything. So the whole holding in the animosity, the being mad, don't forgive them. What it is you want someone else to feel the pain that you felt. And you feel like if you forgive them for it, then it's like they got away with, almost murder. I mean, even if it comes down to, I don't know what your situation is or whatever, whoever you may be holding unforgiveness in your heart towards, but it feels like they've gotten away with it if I just let it go and forgive them for what happened. But I realized the more that I began to, forgiving for that, I was actually we had a great relationship before he passed away in 2010 of pancreatic cancer. And, he passed. Actually, when he passed, I was getting ready to move him to Charlotte, North Carolina to live with me. The week I was going to pick him up, he passed the week that I was going to get him. I didn't know the severity of it. He didn't tell me the severity of the cancer and how bad it was. And, hospice had just released him back home. He didn't tell me all of those things at the time. I just knew he was back home. He was like, I'm feeling good. I'm ready to go. I'm packed up. I'll be packing and I'm coming. But if I never forgave him, if I never learned that forgiveness of someone for anything they've done, that it does hold you back. It does hold you back. And a big thing that happened with me when I learned to forgive myself, first you got to take accountability. You got to take accountability. Once you realize all the things that you've done wrong, all the mistakes that you've made, all the decisions that you made that maybe affected other people, you still have to learn to forgive yourself. You can't fix everything. You're not going to be able to fix everything that you've done wrong. You're not going to be able to change everything that you've done wrong. But you have to have that forgiveness of yourself. You really got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I forgive you. I forgive you for all you've done, and I love you. I tell myself that all the time. I'll look in the mirror and say, hey, I love you. I forgive you and I love you. And like I said, first it was accountability, learning to be accountable for what you've done and moving from there. But that unforgiveness is so powerful. You release it. And that was what I challenged you to do this week. Today, like I said, today is Monday. What I challenge you to do this week is to work on forgiving yourself and forgiving. Just pick one person that you need to forgive. Whether you tell them or whether you do it to yourself, pick that one person to say, hey, I truly forgive them for what they've done. And mean it. Take time to mean it, to say, hey, I forgive this person or this mate or whoever, whatever someone has done for you, just take one person and feel what it does to you. Like, once you say, I forgive him or her for what they did, and then just relax for a second and feel the pressure as it begins to relieve, and watch how other things begin to happen for you. And every day, like before you go to bed, every day, hey, I forgive myself for anything that I've done wrong, and I forgive anybody who's done wrong to me. Every day, work on being a person of forgiveness, and watch how things begin to change and open up for you. Because when you carry that around, it's like a ripple effect. It takes on so much more. You're mad at this person for this, so you don't want to forgive him for what happened. Now, the next thing that you're working towards, but you have so much anger built up inside. When you don't forgive him, you build a lot of anger up, and that anger causes more stress, and stress is so linked to sickness. Sickness and stress they go so hand in hand. They are linked like a knot. It's tied up like a knot when you have stress in your life and the sickness that goes with it. And a lot of it comes from you not forgiving yourself, because you feel like, well, I did something so wrong that, I can't forgive her. Somebody else is not going to forgive me, or, somebody else is going to hold something against me. Listen, people are going to be the way they are. You just forgive yourself. If it's somebody you can ask their forgiveness, that's fine. If it's not able to, that's okay as well. But forgive yourself and live. Forgive yourself and begin to live. The more peace, I think the more we live in peace, the less you realize that all the other things that goes on around you is not as important. It's just to be at peace sometimes. And it starts with forgiveness. It starts with you taking time to forgive yourself for anything that you have done, forgive the people around you, and carry on in life. And it takes a burden. Like I said, people are going to still feel the way they're going to feel. You can't change that. It's not going to be your job to go out and make everybody forgive you for what you've done. You take accountability for what you've done, the mistakes you've made, and say, hey, I know I made that mistake, but I forgive myself, and I choose to be happy. I choose to move on. Like I said, we can't go back and erase time, anything that's happened, but I can choose to live my life different. I can choose to be accountable and more aware. The self-awareness of what you've done or anything that you've been a part of is key to your growth. It's key to a growth mindset. And as you'll realize listening to me going forward, that I'm really big on mindset, on a growth mindset. The same way I don't look at failure anymore, but I look at it as opportunity to learn, and that's a whole nother episode. But basically, it's just telling you this, like, learn to forgive yourself, learn to forgive the people around you. Don't hold grudges towards folks, because it's not helping you. Okay, just to think about it, what is it going to do? What is it going to benefit you to hold a grudge against someone who's maybe done you wrong or something like that, or done something that you didn't approve of? And it can be real serious. It can be major. But how is that going to help you? How does that? Because what happens is, every time all you think about is, oh, they did me wrong. Oh, they did this to me. Oh, they did that to me. And because of this, and this is why I'm like this. And because this person did this to me, this is why I can't forgive anyone else. Or this is why I can't have a certain type of relationship. No, that's all a lie. You're lying to yourself. You have the type of life and relationships that you choose to have. When you hold the animosity, when you hold the unforgiveness inside, that's what's holding you back. You're holding you back. You are holding you back. So it's up to you to be able to change what it is that you want. It's up to you to be able to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to forgive this person for this, and I'm going to move on. Because when I hold it in, and then anytime you see them, anytime you come across them, anytime you hear their name, you get upset. So now it throws off your whole day. So now you're mad again, and you become mad at someone else, and the people you're around are wondering, like, what just happened to him? Or why all of a sudden you're mad about this? Don't try to control other people's emotions or what they do. You control yourself. Learn to forgive. Learn to forgive yourself. I do it all the time. I say, I forgive myself. And no one else can tell you about you better than you. You know you better than anyone else knows you. And the best thing to do is to get to know yourself even more. Know that there's times that you are holding a grudge, or you're not letting go of certain things. recognize that. That self-awareness is so important. Recognize when you are being unforgiving of yourself, and recognize when you are being unforgiving of others. Because, like I said, it's going to take more than just that one effect that's going to happen in their life. So take time to forgive yourself. Take time to forgive others, and learn to be at peace. Learn to be okay with the mistakes you've made. Learn to be okay with the decisions that you've made in life. Don't allow people to hold it. Hey, once you forgive yourself, once you've asked for forgiveness, don't allow anyone to hold that over your head. Don't allow anyone to go back into the past. Well, I remember you did this, or I remember this happened. Hey, you don't stay in your past. And like I tell people, I don't live in my past. So unless you want to be in it, then, hey, we can change this up. I don't need you to tell me all the things that I've done wrong, or I've been a part of that weren't right, or decisions I made. I've done it. I did it, so I understand what it was. And even more so now, I cannot get ahead by continuing to talk about it. I need to talk about the solution. You always want to talk about problems. A lot of people want to discuss the problems. No, let's discuss the solution. So learn to forgive yourself. And I'm going to end this the way I do all the time. The blueprint, with the blueprint I give you: prayer, patience, progress, in that order. Prayer, patience, progress. And until next time, Steve Robinson, Lead Change Empowerment Podcast. You all have a great week.